Changes going on right now that we're seeing in the moment, just over the last 30, 45 days, is watching the transaction volume. So they're just the number of total units are down. And again, it's flexible market by market, though nationally we are seeing the number of units down. And because of that, it's less transactions for everybody. So you, the agents, got to get out there and find those. It's kind of my model, if you will. Our job, our goal, our desire is to just get in the way of these transactions that are going to happen. Yes, there's less of them happening right now. So we just have to be out more active in the marketplace, talking to more people, uncovering more transactions that are going on and taking advantage, even though it is down significantly. I'm optimistic, by the way. October and November, things are going to pick back up. Yeah, I gave you a couple nuggets. So I didn't get into the details of how they should be prepared. And I think that's a key component is really working right now on compiling your database, compiling your tribe, your people, and then beginning to communicate with them at a high level and building the relationships. 88% of consumers surveyed said they would use the same agent again. Out of these, a 12% margin. Gosh. Well, the reality is only 18% do. Because agents are treating their consumers transactionally rather than relationally. And it gives you an opportunity not only to grab the 12% that didn't have a good experience with their agent, to grab the other 70% where the agent isn't there doing their job and staying in conversation. So get out there, get after it, build those relationships, find the ones that feel right to you. And you don't need that many to have a great business. If we're looking at having just, let's say, 36 transactions a year, that's it. You're really looking at having about a 400-person database to make that happen. It's crazy how few people you actually need to be communicating with. So get after it and let's build your tribe. Yeah, that's a great question. I'm, by the way, excited that you're remembering. In my world, there's the market and there's your market, period. And so your market is built, and I talk a lot about prospecting. Let's shift gears, though, because your market is also built secondarily, once you've got enough income coming in, by your marketing. And your marketing starts with your brand. And your brand starts with your avatar. And so let's define that right now and start at that kind of lead domino of marketing. Who is your perfect consumer? Have you defined it? Have you really written, call him Bob or call them Bob and Mary? I don't care. Have you defined who they are, how many kids they have, what's going on in their life, what they like to do? Have you gone in and defined your perfect consumer? So you've got your, quote, avatar of the target you're going to speak to, then developing your brand to speak to that target, then developing all your messaging to speak to that target. I'll give you a great example. I have a great agent that I used to know in Northern California, and his target was German Shepherd owners. That was kind of his thing. He loved German Shepherds. He did German Shepherd Rescue. Obviously, he had one, and his entire brand, marketing, messaging. Heck, he had a newsletter that every month went out that had an article from the dog's perspective. Notes from Charlie. And everybody wanted to know what his dog was doing, what the dog was saying. He built an entire brand around that. Now, here's the fun part. Did people who didn't own German Shepherds do business with him? Absolutely. And yet he went through the effort and energy to really define his target, build his brand, create the messaging there, and people still knew him as that, still liked him as that, even though they may not have a German Shepherd. And because of the consistency of messaging, still trusted him. No like trust, he was dominant in the geographic region that he was the German Shepherd guy. It was crazy. You can do the same thing. Let's get you on that lead domino and helping you define your target audience. Okay, top mistakes agents are doing in a tough market. And again, the fun part about this market, it's really not that tough. It's just different. And for those of you that have been licensed 8, 9 years or less, you've just never dealt with it. The last 8, 9 years have been easy street. So you're just going into a more normal market, a market that you have to do the work. So the biggest mistakes I see right now, number one, agents not believing, not having faith, listening to the chatter of all the negativity out there from agents who aren't willing to do the work and aren't doing the work and are complaining and are total garbage magnets, or the same thing with the media. So number one is just not having the faith, not trusting yourself to get out there and do the work. Number two, not getting in the right environment. They're out there still thinking they need to do it on their own. They should pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and they're not surrounding themselves with the right people. And they're opposite sides of the same coin. You're tapping into all the negative side, and if you just turn that off and instead get in the right environment where people are doing the work and they're having fun and they're collaborating, magic happens. I'll give you another great example. I had a real estate agent, brand new agent in one of the toughest markets in the country, come over, plug in with us, and in his first 14 days picked up 4 listings. Oh, there's not enough business. You're right. There's not enough business for the people that aren't doing the right work at the right time and maintaining the right attitude. So the two things, one, stop listening to the garbage, and 2, stop attempting to do it yourself. Get plugged in with the right people that are going to help you grow. Well, the wrong work is simple, and it's so much fun when I interview an agent who's having a struggle, and they start telling me all the woes and giving me all the reasons why things are going awry. The first thing I always ask is, great, let's look at your calendar. And they usually don't want to show it. And when they do show it, it has nothing on it. They have no plan. And so they're constantly just kind of winging it. And I see that time and time again with agents right now in this market. They're just kind of waiting for the business to show up and then complaining it isn't. So the wrong work, which is the majority, is just doing nothing. The right work is getting back to those foundational elements, compounding the smallest little habits that you can build into your world, which will give you huge results. Number one being the calendar. Having a plan every day, living a calendared, structured, scheduled life. If I looked at your calendar today going forward, it should show me what your perfect plan of success is. What you're going to do every day, when you're going to do it, that's the plan. Now, it can change over time, and it can change in the moment, because obviously things might come up with family that truly are urgent and important, so we're going to take care of those. And things might come up with the business, like somebody says, hey, come list my house. We're going to change the schedule for that. That being said, calendar, then conversations. Get out there and talk to people. Get out there and get to know folks. Don't be sitting around waiting for it to come to you. You go out and go hunting. So probably for me, those are kind of the first 2 dominoes right out of the gate when I start working with somebody, is getting them into a lot of conversations, quantity over quality first, and getting them to start structuring their day, their weeks, and their life going forward. You work on those 2, and there's 2 others that we can share later. You work on those first 2, you're going to have a heck of a close to this year. Probably the key bonus on this, and again, we've got my 4 pillars, the 4 foundational cornerstones of business success. We say realistic success because we're here in this space of calendar, database, conversations, and tracking your numbers, knowing the numbers of your business. Once we've got some stabilized income, then you got to get into marketing. There is not a true long-term business out there that isn't in the marketing space, that is constantly just selling. Most real estate agents don't really have a business. They have a job. They are self-employed. Your broker might tell you, oh, you've got your own real estate business now. No, you have your own real estate job. And the easiest way to tell that is when you stop working, you go on vacation, something else comes up, the income drops or goes away. If you have a business, revenue still shows up, and the key lead metric of a business is marketing. So, what are you doing on the marketing front consistently? Are you doing direct mail? Are you doing social media at a high level? Are you doing YouTube? Pick a lane and build it out. So that probably for me, as I work with clients and get them up to their magic pending number, we may want to talk about that at some point, but get them up to their magic pending number. We now have the revenue to feed their life and their lifestyle. Now it's time to grow the business and get into marketing. And that's when I would kick it in full gear. There's a ton. And again, it's all research based. This is not, Coach Ross saying, hey, here's what you do. This is the actual research telling you what you should do. So number one, compile that database and keep building it. There are 4 laws of the database, and number one is feed it daily. Actually, number one is build it. For most of you, you're going to get on a system, do it that way. So number 2, feed it daily. That's my lead domino, which means add to it every single day. Add to it through the mindset of who knows me versus who do I know. If you start going, okay, who do I know that I can put in the database? You start questioning it. Well, do I really know them? I'm not sure how the relationship is. I haven't talked to them in forever. Let all that go and just go through the lens of who knows you, because you never know what their story is about you. They may miss you. They may think you're the most amazing person in their life, and you've just kind of fallen off. And when you reconnect, man, it's awesome. And then staying in contact with that group of people as you keep building it. Well, the research is 36 touches a year to maintain mindset, to own that real estate file folder in their brain. And 4 of those touches, which are the most important 4, are live conversations 4 times a year. Most agents, in fact, I would say 98% of agents don't do that because they're not following the model. They're not following the system. Yet you should be talking to everybody in that database a minimum 4 times a year, then another 32 different touches. If you're doing a newsletter every month, there's 12. If you're doing some type of direct mail around your listings and your solds and your buyers, you can add easily another 12. You can do a couple of events a year. Now you have reasons to reach out with direct mail and phone calls to invite them to the events. You might see them at the events, and of course, throw in a few holidays of direct mail, and you're going to hit your 36 touch. So build that 36 touch plan. Make sure you have those 4 conversations, 1 a quarter, built into a system. Oh, last thing, make sure you're documenting all this in your database, in your CRM. So every conversation I have, I am documenting that conversation. I'm putting in the notes of the conversation when I had it. So when I talk to him 90 days from now, I have a context for the next conversation. Those are the keys. Work in this database. And again, if you do that, you're going to get a 6 to 10% return on that database body count transaction every single year. You have 1,000 people in there. That's 60 to 100 transactions a year. I think you could live a pretty good life on that. All right, guy, I'm going to give away the keys to the kingdom today. I'm going to give away my secret sauce. And I'm not going to put in the details of how we arrive at this. That being said, every one of you watching this have a goal for revenue for the next 12 months. Maybe it's 240 grand. Be a great number. That's the goal. Now, we're going to take that revenue goal and divide by either our average gross commission income or the market average gross commission income. So, example, average sales prices are $330,000 on a 3% commission. That's about 10 grand. Perfect. So we'll use 10 grand in this example. So 240 grand's the goal, divided by 10 grand commission means I've got to do 24 units in the next 12 months in order to hit my goal. Perfect. So the magic pending number. This is the number that you should have pending at all times. So once you've heard it or once you've calculated it, your goal between now and then is to lead generate, have conversations, do follow up 8, 10, 12 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week until you get to that number. Once you get to that number, get a little +1 so you have a buffer, go one above it. And then you can kind of back off of those activities and shift towards marketing and building your marketing systems, shift towards building your team, adding agents, building an organization. Lots of places you can shift once you hit that magic pending number. So the math is pretty simple. The unit goal, in this case, 24 units, divided by 8.11. 3. That's it. So if I'm working with a client right now and they only have one, over the next few weeks, the only thing we're talking about is conversations, how many, all day, every day, getting on appointments, showing houses, taking listings, getting to 3 pending. And then once we're there, we'll get a bonus 4, and then we'll start shifting into other activities to build a massive business. So the pipeline number, which is what you asked. We know what a pending is. That's an under contract at the escrow company where a buyer and seller have agreed and we're moving that one forward. Pipeline. The pipeline number is how many approved, qualified, active, which means we should have a signed buyer broker agreement. How many of those buyers do we have? Plus how many listings in MLS that haven't sold yet, plus how many signed listings that we haven't yet gotten into the MLS. So those 3 pots, active buyers, active listings on the market, signed listings not yet on the market, that's your pipeline. And your pipeline should be 2x of your magic pending number. So if your magic pending number is 3, you need to have at least 6 in the pipeline at all time to make sure that you're going to have your 3 pending at all time to make sure you're on goal to hit your number. See, just like every other business, real estate is just a mathematical equation. And as we start tracking our numbers and figuring out the math of our own business and then plugging into these other pieces I just gave you, it actually gets real simple. And more importantly, it gets a lot of fun. So I look forward to helping you guys. I don't. Write it down and we'll cover it next week. All right? See you next week, Shu. Bye.